Hello and welcome everybody to the Pixel Scandal Nerdcast. This is episode 25. 25? This is going to be our final October Horror Fest cast. Today we'll be discussing some more spooky stuff. I'm End of Line, and with me today is...
Nightson.
Oreztes.
Handor.
Thanks everybody for coming and joining the cast today. If you enjoyed the episode and want to check us out further, you can reach us at a bunch of different ways. You can get us on our website, which is pixelscandal.com. You could also send us an email with any comments, notes, or suggestions at pixelscandal@gmail.com. You can check us out on Twitter or Instagram at pixelscandal. And you can find our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or whatever podcatcher software you enjoy.
God damn it, I was going to make a point not to use that word.
Sorry, your favorite pod turkey. That's what I'm calling it. It's called pod turkey now. Gordon, what are we talking about today?
Tonight's spotlight is going to be horror tropes and genre fatigue. All those types of movies and media in general of various tropes that we as a community get old and we get tired of. And is there a way to deal with that?
Yeah, we have a few announcements for this episode. For one, tomorrow, which is Sunday, that's going to be October the 28th, we are going to be playing a game called Damned. We know nothing about it. It looked spooky and fun, and we're going to check it out. So if you want to watch us play that, we'll be streaming that tomorrow at 4 p.m. Hope you join us. Our next game night is going to be our Dungeon World game, which will be November 10th. It's going to be at 9 a.m. Sorry, it'll be game morning. I apologize. Yeah. November 10th at 9 a.m. So if you are crazy like us and want to get up early that morning, feel free to do it. November 10th, we'll check it out. It's an awesome game.
And if you're less crazy, it's available for VOD later.
Yeah, totally. Check it out on the podcast.
Watch it later.
Or watch it on YouTube. We've got a lot of ways for you to check out things if you can't make it live. We're going to be doing a playthrough. Handor and I are going to be doing a playthrough of a game called We Were Here Too, which was recommended by one of our viewers. And neither one of us have played it, so we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. But we're going to do it we're going to try something new format. We're going to do a Let's Play series. Not new format in general, new format to us. But we're going to do a Let's Play series where we're going to record the footage and chop it up into a series. And we're going to post that on our YouTube video, our YouTube account. So keep an eye on YouTube for that. We should hopefully start getting clips uploaded for that sometime next week. Mm-hmm. And finally, we will have a post-Fallout beta review next week. I know a lot of you people are gamers, and as you might already be aware, there is a beta for Fallout 76 that actually started for consoles this week, and it is rolling out on Tuesday for beta access for the PlayStation 4 and PC folks. We will be playing on the PC version. We will be streaming that on Tuesday. I believe it's 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until 8 p.m. or 6 p.m. I can't remember, but I think it's 2 to 4 hours.
Doc says 8.
Perfect. So 4 hours of gameplay footage we'll have up and running, and then after this weekend, or after the next weekend, I should say, after we've had more time with the beta over the weekend, because they have a couple of beta days, we will do a specific Fallout 76 episode to discuss the beta and our opinion of it, and builds and what we think is working, what we think is not working.
In the interim, if you have any questions, think crazy ideas you want us to try out or take a look at, just let us know.
Yeah. That brings us to what we're excited about. So let's lead off with that. What are you guys excited about?
Fallout.
Yay! Fallout.
Yeah. I'm excited to do some research on this build that we were discussing earlier today.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun to me.
So Nightson, Oreztes, and I, and one of our Pixel Scandal family, Loot for Life, we all went hiking to a river and did.
I finally get to hear this story.
Gold panning,
right?
And she left me for dead.
Nightson almost died. No, it was really beautiful. It was really good weather here in California. It's like our last kind of warmish weekend of the season. But anyway, we were out there, and so what do a bunch of nerds do when they're out in the beautiful wilderness? They talk about fucking video games, of course. So
Right.
we spent a lot of time like theory crafting potential builds for each other, and I think Oreztes definitely has one a lot. Go ahead and tell us about it.
Well, I mean, I don't know about any of the cards or anything, or any of what the actual build is going to be. I need to do some research on it over the next few days. But we were talking about a charisma luck build that just, pretty much runs around and gives buffs to your friends and better crafting
Yeah.
and all that good stuff.
That role
So,
that you never
full
really
support.
play or enjoy.
Yeah, full support,
Yeah.
full on support. So, like, I do nothing. There's a bad guy. Oh, it's not my problem. Somebody else handle it. Yeah. So it
You could be like-
sounds interesting.
You could be like Domino. Your character just play it like Domino.
Yeah, I'm just lucky. It's like there's a nuke goes off and there's a giant explosion and I just pop out from behind a telephone pole like, hey guys, did you hear that? Hey, what's this on the floor? Look, it's a chest full of loot.
Yep.
Goes
Yeah.
without saying, but full in foil crafting for me because I am crazy.
Yeah.
And then Endo, you're talking about doing a melee build of all things. The lover of melee is going to.
Yeah, it's a little random. I don't know why. It just seems interesting to me. Looking at some of the different perks, and not being a super Fallout player. I know Fallout is an enormously popular game. Thanks for the sub, Rando. But yeah, I'm gonna check out the melee.
Yeah.
We were talking about today. I'm gonna see. It might not be too strong. It might be very strong. We'll see. But it's definitely out of my bubble, which is I think kind of why I want to try it.
Yeah.
Also, I
I-
suck at FPS, so there's that.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know anything about the build that I'm excited for, but the build that I actually excited for is for Nightson's, because we were talking about it earlier with the landmines and grenades and turrets everywhere. Just plop down a turret, surround it with landmines.
And then lead
Snipe
the
a bad
Supremes
guy.
into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
snipe a bad guy, he runs over. I'm gonna get you. Boom! Explosions.
So I'm gonna
Oh,
I'm,
that sounds
I'm gonna ask
fun.
the crazy question, Handor. Have you pre-ordered and or downloaded the game yet?
I've done 50% of that.
You've downloaded the game without pre-ordering it.
I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
Thank you.
We talked about it
Uh,
early. He's already on it.
Okay. The pre-install is ready to go for anyone who's already set up their beta access or and downloaded the Bethesda client, which is the weirdest client in the world. It has all of your favorite Bethesda games except for anything in the Elder Scrolls and or Fallout series.
Yep.
And I think the first Dishonored is not there either.
I see we've got some retro gaming excited about on here. Who's that?
Yeah, that was mine. That's a story that I read a few days ago. I think 4 or 5 days ago now. They have who is it? Naoki Hori from Sega said that they are pretty close to successfully making Dreamcast titles work on the Nintendo Switch through emulation.
That's
So,
insane.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is really, really freaking cool. Ever since Sega Ages came out, and then he was saying that the trying to use emulation for most of the titles, but remaking the rest because they still have all the source code for all that good stuff, and that's awesome to me. Like the Dreamcast has a special place in my heart because I used to work at GameStop before it was GameStop and it was Software Etc. back in 99 at the launch of the Dreamcast. So I was right there in the stores, working it. Entire job pretty much revolved around sitting in the back room, opening up cases of Ready to Rumble 2 and Mortal Kombat Annihilation and popping them in a Dreamcast, playing them up to the point where the discs would start skipping or the music would cut out. And then if it didn't have that problem, we would re-shrink wrap it and put it on the shelf and sell it. It was great. My entire job for about 3 weeks there, right around the middle of September, was just all right. Hang out in the back room, play Dreamcast for about 10
Doing
minutes.
QA for what, Midway?
Midway. Actually, Midway was the Mortal Kombat one. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't remember what the Ready to Rumble one was. It was pretty much just because Sega fell behind on production of their GDs, the discs, so they sent the gold copies to a third party manufacturer whose press was slightly off center.
Oh,
So-
nice.
Yeah, so like about half of the games that came out were like, okay, yeah, these are defective. We got to send them back. So yeah, it was fun.
I
I
gotta
played a
say,
lot of Dreamcast. I played this one incredible, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, but it's a
Power Stone was the best Dreamcast game. That's probably it.
Fantasy Star
it
Online.
it was a one of the more first realistic martial arts.
Shinmu.
Street Fighter.
It was not Street Fighter. It might have been it might have been like Shinmu or something like that. It had a weird name. It had a very oriental name. And it was very complex, and it had a massive storyline. I love the game.
That was
And
Shinmu.
That sounds like Shenmue.
100%.
Yeah, Shinmu was amazing.
Yeah, it was an
Like-
RPG, and they had a lot of side questing, and there was actual like combat, and he was like a karate
Yeah,
expert.
like legit
Yeah.
mixed martial arts.
One of
If
the
I'm not
side-
mistaken, I think they were talking about a fourth one.
Yeah,
I know they recently re-released like a bundle pack or something with the first two or three. I don't remember. Yeah.
my favorite game. I couldn't think of it early today when we were talking about this a little bit, and I couldn't remember it because it was the soundtrack, and it turned me on to one of my favorite bands, Cold, Jet Grind Radio. I played the hell out of Jet Grind Radio on the Dreamcast. I love that game.
Yep. That was one of their big ones. Yeah. But I'd be super stoked to get a relaunch of Power Stone. I mean, I
I would
still
just-
hook up my Dreamcast and play Power Stone 1 and 2 every few months just because it's so good.
I would just like to see if PSO actually gets a multiplayer component with the Switch because, I sunk way too many hours into that game.
If they port, I don't think they'll port that one, honestly. I think that's there's just too much netcode overhead for something like that. It won't
I could dream,
translate.
though.
I know. It'd be cool. It really would. I would totally buy it to play it, but I just don't think it'll happen.
I would have to buy a Switch first, though, in fairness.
Right.
Yeah. This is just one more reason why I would buy a Switch. I've been
Yeah.
wanting to for a while, but
Yeah.
if they get that in place, I might have to take the plunge.
All right. Well, I
think-
see
I-
that. Oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
I was just saying, I think you pretty much just sold it for me.
All right. I also see here we have a Kickstarter that someone's excited about. I don't know who put this in.
Well, I mean, did you click on it? If you just take a look at the splash screen, you would be able to tell right off the bat who put that in.
All right. Clicking.
That also is me.
Oh, yep. Very clearly, that is in
Yep.
fact you. Or is
Yeah.
this-
So this is a tabletop game. We've been doing pretty much every time that we have an episode, either Gidget or Kurt is like, "Oh yeah, Kickstarter. There's a thing on Kickstarter that we're totes excited for," and so they're not here this week because the honeymoon and whatnot. So I decided to carry on with their legacy.
If
and-
you're watching this and you're sober, Gidget and Kurt, we're very upset with you.
oh yeah, you should have been there to die today with us.
Or you
Um.
should have been there to take my seat.
Yeah. But yeah, so this is a tabletop RPG. It's called Kamigakari, the God Hunters. And a really quick explanation for anybody who's familiar with the White Wolf games. This would basically be like Exalted without all the crunch. So it's like super
Not a fan of
overpowered.
crunchy systems.
Yeah, this is so. If you look at the Kickstarter and check out one of their previous updates, I think update 5, they go over the dice system for the game, and it's a 2d6 system. That's all there is to it. It's not like
Is it powered by the apocalypse?
no,
No,
not at all.
it's not.
No,
Okay. Because
This is a-
2d6 system. It
Yeah.
screams to be powered
No.
by the apocalypse.
this is a Japanese system that's basically just being converted to English. That's what this whole Kickstarter is about, and it's super popular in Japan. But the dice mechanic post is actually called of Dice and Newman. It was made on October 25th, so just recently. If you want to go in and read through that, it sounds really interesting. Sounds really easy. You basically kind of have your 2d6 plus your stat, but then you have a side dice pool called Newman. And at the beginning of the game, it starts off as 4 dice. You roll these 4 dice, you put them to the side. Whatever you roll, that's your pool. So as you play through the game, you make your 2d6 rolls. So at any time during the game, you could replace one of your 2d6 with one of these dice in your pool. And it's not a resource that goes away, you just replace it. So if you roll 2d6 and you get a 1
Oh.
and a 5, it's like, well, I'm gonna replace this 1. So you take your 1 out, you replace it with one of your 4 dice in your pool, and now you have a 1 sitting in your pool for later. So I mean, it's kind of cool because a lot of times, if you're familiar with RPGs, you're short by just 1. So even a 1 on a dice is good. Could be useful. So it's
Mhm.
pretty cool. Also, you use that pool to fuel your superpower moves. Um, so like you're gonna do like a giant fireball that's gonna blast out half of the moon or whatever. You take like, a number of your dice in your side pool, put those to the side, and you've used them. You've expended them for powering this super move, but they come back at the end of the round. So you could still do something super powered every round. You're just you're expending these dice pools to power this move. So you have a smaller pool of, it's called Newman, to swap out your dice in case you roll low. So
Mhm.
it's not like Powered by the Apocalypse. It seems like a really cool, interesting dice system. Again, it's super high powered, super over the top. It's kind of based on your weapons. So when you start off at level 1, you got 2 people that use a sword, but then as you go through the game and progress, you kind of craft your weapons to make them different. So at level 1, 2 people start off with the same weapon. By level 10, they have completely different weapons, completely different builds. Um, I don't know. It just sounds really cool. And then I'm a huge fan of the anime art style, anyways. Anything that's got an anime art style immediately warrants a click from me uh, to kind of roll through it. But I don't. I think it looks really cool. The Kickstarter, they're doing a paperback release because the hardback releases are just kind of prohibitively expensive and they look weird. So they're kind of doing a paperback release. It seems to be something like the Savage Worlds Explorers Edition type deal, which
Okay.
we're all a fan of. Um, that format. But yeah, it looks really cool to me, and it's their estimating release of July of 2019, so it's still got a ways to go. But a couple of the stretch goals, if they get high enough, are going to be to release the 2 expansion books. So hopefully they get up there. But it's only been open for a couple days, and they're already over their their limit, so it's already been funded, which is awesome. So I think I'm gonna definitely back this one in the next couple days here.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks like
looks-
34 days left on the
Yeah,
pledge drive. So
It does look cool.
yeah, yeah. So come next July, this might be the second game I've ever decided to run for anybody. We'll see.
we'll have to see if you can run it for our next crazy trip into Murderville,
Yeah.
or I'm sorry, Murder
Castle
Castle.
Town?
Murder Castle.
We
Yeah.
we have some crazy stuff in store for the next couple of months for Paper Scandal for our RPG. Don't have any
Oh, yeah.
specific details yet. Things are kind of shaping up, but we're going to have some really cool stuff coming.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah,
So pay attention. Probably next week we'll make some announcements.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to love the announcement of an announcement. It's very exciting.
It's so meta.
When your announcements have their own announcement, they're big.
Yeah.
They're gonna be good.
But we're kind of working out some of the kinks, getting some scheduling down. But hopefully we'll have some pretty cool stuff, especially if you're friends of some of the friends of the community.
Hmm. Yeah.
So let's move on to what we played recently. I know for myself, Oreztes, and Endo, it's basically been Final Fantasy. But so I'll open the floor to Handor and see if he's done anything interesting.
Well, I wouldn't say anything interesting or new. Some of the other Pixel Scandal family members, we played Rocket League for about, I don't know, 9 hours, I think, yesterday.
Oh man.
We played through no rank. We played through unranked and got to platinum by the end of the night. That was pretty
Wow,
cool.
that's actually impressive. Like I've watched some videos of people doing the progression, and like the unranked games are basically free for anyone who can rub 2 brain cells together.
Yeah.
And then it gets crazy and fast.
Yeah.
And everyone is basically like, "Are we playing the same game? Like, did you have cheat codes in, and you can fly
That's-
around the map and?"
Yeah, they do
Yeah,
some
no.
crazy stuff.
Yes.
That's the thing. You go from like, I don't know, mid to low tier gold rank, and that's when it starts getting like, okay, a little bit of competition, a little bit of climb. You have to run your zones and be in the right spot and stuff. Can't be crowding your buddies and stuff like that. make passes and so on and so forth. But once you start getting into the gold 3 and platinum 1 area, that's when you start seeing people being able to do the double tap off the top railing, or ride the wall, flick the ball off the wall, continue to ride the ball on top of their nose, and just spin as they drop it gently in your face like a dunk in the goal. And it's like, it's insane. Like, you're playing these like 12 and 13, 14-year-old kids that are just gods at the game, you know? And the funny thing is the drop off. So when we first started playing yesterday at around 4 my time, it was difficult. We had a lot of rough games. But then when 7, 8 o'clock rolled around, the competition kind of just, because they all started doing homework or went to bed or whatever it was. So we're like, oh, platinum, all right, yeah, here we go.
Dealing with all the old people now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the
got
people with
school.
the same reflex times I have.
Does that game cross-platform at all, or is it you
Yeah.
only playing with PC? Okay, awesome.
It's PC and PlayStation.
And they play with each other at the same matches? Like you play against PlayStation people? Or is it PC
Oh,
playing
yeah.
against PC only?
No, it's totally. We see continuously PlayStation players and PC players.
That's cool.
It's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun playing that. So I mean, like it's nothing new to anybody really. It's an old game, but for those who do enjoy something,
There's literally nothing else like it.
right? Yeah, it's such a fantastic fun game to play.
Yeah, I tried playing it the once, and it did not go well. So I
You-
would be those freebie games that people get.
The learning curve, Nightson, on that game is just like. See, here's the thing: for somebody like you or End of Line to play this game, you would need to put in. I'm not kidding. I would say 18 hours before you even see like a capacity to push the ball downfield. Because it's
So it's 18 hours before I stop scoring on my own goal.
yes, that is it. Before you
Alright.
stop
Perfect.
scoring on
That
Sounds like a
sounds
challenge.
Sounds like an awful big investment.
Yeah. He basically just said you guys suck at Hot Wheel soccer. That's what I got out of it.
yeah.
All right. Well, with that, I think we're going to move on to our spotlight. And tonight we're discussing horror tropes and genre fatigue. Basically talking about the different forms of types of media and for lack of a better term, the types of monsters we're seeing in our horror movies. And how we oddly seem to get in and out of phases.
Mm-hmm.
And then audiences get tired, and then oddly enough, some of them seem to come back on occasion.
It's like style, like right. Right now you see a lot of like the '80s stuff coming back. I just saw like somebody wearing acid wash jeans the other day or something like that. Yeah. Rhett and Link on Good Mythical Morning are like French rolling the bottom of their pant legs.
Okay.
Of course they are.
So yeah.
So I guess my first question out to the cast here is, what genre do you feel has been overdone, or at least in this, either right now or in the past?
Should we all
Zombie.
just speak up? Okay.
Yeah.
Vampires, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the zombies. But vampires too. I think for me, it's kind of all of it. I'll be honest. I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for something new. It's just different variations of the same shit over and over again. Someone needs to create some new monsters.
Yeah.
Some new thing to be afraid of.
All right.
I mean, I feel like zombies have been around since forever. Like before, starting with like what was it? Night of the Living Dead, right? Forever ago, like in the 70s, 60s, whenever that was, that old black and white movie. I remember when I was little watching Return of the Living Dead. They're still zombies, and they've just never gone away.
I don't know. I felt like they kind of disappeared. Like, unless you go to some of like the really obscure horror, they kind of disappeared for a better part of 10, 15 years. After like Day of the Dead. And I wish I could remember we don't seem to have that on our show notes. But after that, it seemed to kind of just die off until the Dawn of the Dead remake, early 2000s. And then, of course, we got inundated with a million things since then once people realized that zombies were profitable again.
Stranger Things did a really good job with something new.
Yeah, actually.
I would say that. And here's the funny thing. I was even going to bring this up. I had mentioned to you guys I'm going to touch on a video game. I'm really excited about the Call of Cthulhu game that's coming out on the 30th for PC and console games. And I think for me, more than anything, it's because I think that that's a very untapped horror genre. Like the entire genre of, the old gods and, Cthulhu and H.R. Geiger and like all that stuff. It's been, not to say it's never been done. It has been done. But, I mean, I feel like it's really an untapped resource that should be tapped more, to be honest.
I think a lot of the problem with Cthulhu mythos is it's so easy to get wrong.
Well, I mean, it's easy to get wrong because Lovecraft he started it. A lot
Sorry,
of
I meant
what
Lovecraft.
people, a lot of what people generally accept as, the Cthulhu mythos today was not created by Lovecraft. It's other people who were just writing stories to kind of go into his universe. So the Cthulhu mythos, I mean, I've read a lot of his stories. Don't tell anyone at work when I didn't really have anything to do. And you can go to his website. I think it's like hplovecraft.com, and they have all of his stories up there. So you can just kind of sit and read through all of them. Yeah. And a lot of even his audiobooks, where there's a British company that public domain just converted a lot of his stories into audiobooks, and you can just kind of go listen to them. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of his stuff, he creates a lot of the initial, characters like the old gods, elder gods, stuff like that. But a lot of the lore that's kind of expanded on these things was created by other people.
Well, sure, but you could say the same for everything. Like vampire lore is the same way. It's expanded, and what are they sensitive to? Like, I can't remember. Like, I remember what's the name of the HBO show with Sookie Stackhouse, True Blood. They had the thing about the silver thing. Like I hate silver, and I was like, wait, what? They hate silver? Is that real? It's like they take
silver.
Yeah, I mean, I know werewolves hated silver, but apparently in True Blood they hate silver. So it's just they take liberal things. They take
I think
they do with how they want to do it.
I think in Blade they hated silver.
Yeah, Blade too.
I'm trying to remember. It's because it's been about 10 years since I read Bram Stoker, Dracula, and I don't remember silver being a thing, but I could be wrong.
But like I said, that caught me off guard. But he's right. Handor's right. Blade came first, I think. And that was a thing about Blade, but it's like and hey, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with shaking up that genre a bit, but it's like there's only so much you can do.
No, and that's the idea, right? We're all pretty much in agreement that zombies have been so overdone. And you know what? I got a little bit of I'm going to say a word that probably isn't even a word here. Reverbance, rekindling when the Brad Pitt zombie movie came out. And all of a sudden, zombies could like move fast, and they had like this entirely new
move fast
behavior.
Zombies. That's Dawn of the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Or,
I understand that, but we've been subjected to for the last decade. Zombies that are just, I don't know, just terrible. Just
I mean,
the same thing.
The idea, and it's kind of funny. There's a comment about this in the new Sabrina show on Netflix about why the slow zombies versus fast zombies, and the idea being that a corpse has rigor mortis, so it can't move really, really fast. Like how does a corpse in rigor sprint? And I kind of chuckled because I was like, I never thought about that way. But yeah, it makes sense.
It depends on your zombies. If it's your zombies are literally risen from the grave, like some of the older, like 80 versions.
Versus virulence, like infection.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's
like the legend zombie is an example.
We're getting down to the nuance of what.
Although Legend was actually vampires. I Am Legend.
Oh my god. Of course they were.
Oh yeah.
My bad.
If it was just an infection, to where you're just there's another movie where what is her name? She did the Bewitched. She played the Bewitched.
In the remake or the original one?
The remake.
That was
Carissa Lockhart. No.
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 Carissa explains it all.
Wasn't it Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, Nicole Kidman. She played in a movie where, and I don't know if it's aliens come, but it's basically a virus or an infection that makes everyone behave in a very specific way, and if you don't follow this line of how everyone else behaves, then they basically kill you or whatever. I can't remember the name of it. But
Actually, that is a genre that that is definitely disappeared. The body snatcher.
I was wondering,
Yeah.
isn't that actually body snatchers? Where like if they recognize someone's not normal, they start screaming.
I mean, yes, it is that same.
I actually like
same
that movie.
idea for sure.
Yeah.
Like I guess technically, The World's End was a body snatcher movie. The Simon Pegg.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, the aliens.
Yeah.
So we have here. We kind of discussed vampires, but I wanted to get into witches, as you brought up Sabrina. They've had an interesting run since basically the 90s. The first thing I can really put my finger on is like Buffy and the Joss Whedon universe, as it were. Was there anything else, or?
They did the Witches of Eastwick, which was a movie with The Shining, of course, popular, played the Joker. I can't remember his name. Sorry, but that was that. No.
Jack Nicholson.
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Yeah. That was the first official like witch movie I had ever seen. You know, there were a lot of the fantasy movies that had a quote unquote witch in them. Like Legend had the Meg in the swamp, like the Swamp Witch, and things like that. But there was never really a movie where the witch was the prevalent thing. They had Practical Magic with Sandra Bullock. So they've kind of touched on it, but I would never ever say that witches got exhausted. I don't think witches have ever been so prevalent in media that it's been an issue of exhaustion.
I think I'd have to agree with that. There's the Netflix movie that's actually really good, and it's very I don't even know how to explain it, but it's kind of, I guess if you're not into it, it's kind of slow at first, but they did a really good job with witches in that Netflix special. What's it called? Now that we're talking about movies, I'm not going to know the names of anything.
Well, to touch on Sabrina, I think that's why I'm enjoying Sabrina. Is it's kind of a twist on what was normally a kind of family-friendly thing, you know, kind of like Riverdale, and I think that's why I like Riverdale too. It's an interesting dark twist on something, which I dig. And again, I'm not burnt out on witches. Like I think witches is interesting, spellcasting and dark arts and whatnot. I mean,
well, it's interesting. They seem
Harry Potter witches. I mean, that's
Yeah.
probably the big one.
But
lately.
aside from the Harry Potter franchise, they really haven't seen anything other than ancillary roles in most movies.
Right.
But TV, they are front and center. We've got like Charmed, the original Sabrina,
which just got rebooted, right? I haven't seen it, but
oh, that's right.
that literally just came out last week, I
On
think.
CW, I think, yeah.
It's literally called The Witch on Netflix.
Oh, it's with the V though, right? It's the horror one.
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah. I haven't seen that. I need to. I heard it's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, it is really good.
The show The Magicians. I'm actually a big fan of that show.
Totally forgot about that.
Is it worth?
I like that one a lot.
It's worth. Okay.
Which one?
Let's talk about this for a second.
Watch it on Netflix. Do not watch the version on the Sci-Fi Channel app. Watch the version on Netflix, because the version on Netflix, The Magicians.
The Magicians.
Yeah, because the version on Netflix is just full out asshole witches cussing up a storm, doing horrible, bad things with their magic. It's great.
If you can get past the obnoxious fucking main character, you'll be all right. The
brown hair chick, not Alex.
No. The main character, the guy.
Oh, the Quentin, the emo dude.
Quentin. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
so emo.
So
Alice is
fucking emo, emotional, just it's one of those characters I want to slap the shit out of.
Yeah.
But aside from him, the main character, I dug it. I've gotten through all 3 of the seasons. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It takes a wild twist that last season, but I dug it.
You know what? Somebody else has done a really good job with. I can't believe we haven't mentioned this earlier. But first of all, I want to throw Charmed in there. That's another one.
Yeah.
I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it
Okay,
just got
sorry.
rebooted. They're just rebooting it.
Which
Yeah.
I'll be honest, in the Buffy vein, I dug Charmed. I thought Charmed was a pretty damn good show.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought Willow was the best character in Buffy.
Willow was the
I
best
will
character in
100%
Buffy.
agree with you.
Yeah, flat out. Willow
Somebody-
100% was.
Somebody that's been literally killing it for I think over a decade now. You might want to check the. I'm pretty sure they have like 15 seasons. Is
Supernatural. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That show is
Fuck
freaking awesome.
yeah, that show.
I don't know.
is-
Maybe there's a lot more witches than I thought. I'm hearing like all things I've
Yeah.
watched. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's true.
Supernatural is weird though because Supernatural I wouldn't say focuses on any of the traditional horror movie trope monsters. They have like kind of
No,
they
you're
have
right.
kind of a weird thing where it's just like the monsters are like guest of the week, monster of the week.
yeah,
Whatever they
it's a
want,
new.
yeah.
Well, that's the whole point, though. It's a whole new
Yeah.
thing. They got to do the research, and it's the Scooby Doo thing, right?
It's
Yeah.
interesting that they're still around. Like, there was a lot of those Monster of the Week. Like, half of what we were talking about, all these TV shows, were essentially Monster of the Week shows back in the 90s.
Mhm.
And Supernatural's the only one that I feel is really still doing it.
Yeah.
Part of why I
They're
love
killing it.
Supernatural so much is because to me it just feels like an RPG campaign that somebody made into
In which
a
you
TV
hate
show.
both characters.
I love
it's
them
like-
both, though. I can't help
Yeah,
it.
it's like
Dude, I was
in the
gonna
first
say-
season.
I love the
they're like,
Winchesters.
yeah, in the first season they're like, okay, we got to go stop this ghost. You got to do the stuff with the spells and the salt and the crap. And there's a ghost. We got to burn the bones, put it back in the grave. Cool. By season 12, it's like, all right, we're gonna split the party. That's not a good idea. Yeah, it is. It's fine. I'm gonna go fight God. You're gonna go fight Satan. Spoilers. But it's like they leveled up so much over those few seasons. They are clearly epic
Dude,
level
they-
heroes right
spoilers. Spoilers. You want to talk about spoilers? Dean has the fucking mark of Cain. Okay.
Yep.
That's God mode, right?
now.
Sam Winchester's living with basically a half. He is half demon,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, you can fuck off with this like whole idea that they're like they're overpowered or anything, and they can. Of course, they can split up. Dean's ego is so fucking huge. I mean, how could you not at this point?
So
Of-
the last episode I saw was the mark of, like, the episode where he got the mark of Cain.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
Because at that point I was just like, I think they have completely jumped that shark, like, and the 16 buses behind it.
Yeah.
They literally had, like, and Oreztes was talking about, like, how they've leveled up, but I think it honestly felt in those, between like season 7 and 10, it was a lot of, holy crap, we're still going. What the hell do we do? We've already killed God, or what?
Yeah.
We got to keep going, and get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well-
And it's one of those, like, in an RPG campaign, you're like, dude, we got to just retire these characters and start
Yeah.
level 1 again.
Of
I'm
a
sorry.
horror show, I mean, I'll call it kind of a horror show because it definitely touches the tropes, right?
Yeah.
I think it's
sci-fi horror. Yeah.
sci-fi horror. Yeah, I think it's one of the few shows where I'm actually interested in. In some cases, I'm actually more interested in the filler episodes than I am the main story.
Completely.
Because the side stories are super duper interesting. They did the musical episode like that came out of fucking nowhere.
Dude,
I
hate
loved it.
everything. I hate everything with Loki. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
oh my god.
I dig it.
Where they're like doing the jumping through TV show episodes.
I
and, like,
love
the
those because
musical stuff. It's
it
like,
reminds me of the old cheesy 80s movies.
Yeah.
Movies. I love them. And speaking of
great.
best character of a series,
Crowley.
if you can bring them back everyone in that show back 100 times, why is Bobby Singer not back?
Oh, Bobby Singer.
He was my
No.
favorite character of that show by far.
Crowley, 100%.
Well, I love
Crowley.
Crowley. I love Crowley
I'll watch
too.
anything
Don't
with
get
that-
me
that
wrong.
actor in it.
Absolutely. But I do love Bobby too.
You idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crawley was great. The father is someone I'd love to see come back. I don't know.
He's a little preoccupied right now.
Yeah, the thing is, he became A-list, right?
Speaking of zombies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea what's happening on Supernatural right now. Last one I seen was like the season finale of like 10 or 11, I think, where there was like literal angels raining down from the sky, and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be real good." And then I totally forgot about it. Never went back to it.
To cap off the conversation of just this Supernatural talk. I think a lot of the reason why they're carrying on so much with what they have and why it seems like they keep going with it is, imagine you're playing that RPG, but they've introduced some sort of new dynamic to it that kind of keeps you feeding and wanting to indulge, whatever. Indulge more into that. Is they've introduced when they introduced what's his face? His name just popped out of my head, but the fans loved him, and they can't
the angel.
Castiel.
The angel Castiel.
Yeah.
They can't write a single series or a single episode without him in it. He's basically become a main character.
Secret. I can't stand Castiel.
Yeah, I don't care.
He's my least favorite of the main characters.
He's kind of hit or miss, I think, depending on the personality he's playing.
Sure.
Yeah.
For me.
Watching some of the stuff that he does, like off screen, he is a supremely talented person as an actor. But yeah, Castiel as a character is somebody that is kind of annoying sometimes, for sure.
So, kind of tying it back, what kind of tropes have we not seen much of, or what would you like to see come back?
More zombies.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Did you say zombies? I'd like to see zombies make a rise, you know?
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like there's anything left that hasn't been done to death at this point. I feel like most of the classic, monsters have already been, played out.
Could you consider, because Twister came out, right? And then we had
we're going natural disaster.
Natural disaster.
Wow, actually, now that I think about it, it's been a while.
What was the other, like 2002 or something? The one about the flood?
I mean, they never do well.
They don't, and that's why I wonder if they.
Well, Sharknado, a natural occurrence.
I mean, I guess those do well enough to do, but I mean, when a movie costs $1.50 to make, I mean, of course you can make 8 of them. Yeah. And I mean,
I just feel like, for me, that's my. If we could see something do well, I'd love to see natural disasters play better in the horror film.
Is that really horror though, or is that just
It's
like
not.
I feel like it could
apocalyptic
be the
type
fog,
deal? Well, fog definitely is, and I would love to. I mean, they did. Admittedly, that's a movie remake I actually dug. By the way, I thought they did a really good job with the remake of the fog. But yeah, in that vein, I'd like to see more of that. That'd be cool. They did though. I mean, it's not, again, probably not horror, but I don't remember which one Jake Gyllenhaal did. I thought that one was pretty decent too.
Prince of Persia.
The Flood. Oh God, no. But it was the Flood, where the world's flooding.
Yeah.
We just had the new Halloween movie, so it's a question: Are we about to see a resurgence of slashers?
It's definitely possible. I mean, I certainly hope.
Do we know?
It did
really liked
very well.
Yeah, I really liked the movie. I thought it was better than the original, actually. And
I haven't seen it yet. So
I think between Halloween reboot and It reboot, you have two
Halloween
back-to-back blockbuster horror movies. It's definitely possible there's going to be a third resurgence. I think it's coming waves. Like, you had the Scream release, right? And that was kind of like the next big modern resurgence of where the characters are kind of understand the meta of horror, so it kind of turns it on its face. I think that was the next big boom. Then you had the Conjuring series, which kind of brought back the Frightener kind of series, which kind of tapped that new vein. Yeah, the supernatural horror,
paranormal spirit,
and it's like legit horror. It's not spooky supernatural. It's legit horror movies. That was huge, and those are still doing well. The Insidious series are within that Conjuring vein too. But for slashers now, I mean, I really hope so. There's talks about redoing Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven's, I mean, not Wes Craven, obviously, but the actor who plays Freddy, Robert Englund, is like, I'm up for it. Like, I'm doing nothing else. Like, you know,
80-year-old Freddy with his walker.
Yeah.
That would give opportunity to one of the movies that I can think of as far as a horror. It's almost like a suspense horror slasher. Is if you remember, if you've seen The Strangers, which was based on a true story, but
The Masks, The Strangers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's still relevant. That's not really old though. That's not that old.
I'm just saying they could, even though that was based on a true story, they could certainly do a spoof off
the home invasion kind of.
Oh yeah.
What I did find interesting, because you were saying how we got the early 2000s slashers, which were a little more meta.
Mm-hmm.
The new Halloween movie, aside from being modern and being a lot more faster paced than the older movies, could have essentially been back from that 80s
100%
style.
Yeah, it is definitely an amped up 80s horror slasher in modern times, and that was very, very intentional. And we were kind of joking. I know people it's Halloween's still coming, so we definitely don't want to spoil anything for anyone. But we were talking about a particular scene that I personally didn't care for, and then you guys kind of explained, there was a mechanic to that, and I was like, okay, yeah, that felt like a horror movie kind of thing to do, and it kind of it really hit those veins of the slasher and the brutality. It had the gore, but it wasn't over the top. It was placed well. It was the timing in between the gore was well. Like, you had an opportunity to kind of like calm down from the scene, and then like it hit you again really fast. Yeah.
One of my favorite things about Halloween is how generally in slashers, especially from the 80s, there's always a scene with a babysitter, and you always are just like, oh, they suck. They're going to get it, and I'm okay with it. In this new one, I really like the babysitter, and I really like the kid.
Yes, there was enough character. It was a real burst of character development. There was just enough for you to give a shit, right?
Yeah. Which was interesting, because the character development didn't come at the cost of the horror or the slasherness
or the pace of the movie.
Yeah,
the pace was kept up. You were every beat of the way. You're like, okay, this is what's happening. Things are going. So if you have seen the original Halloween, who hasn't? I finally got to see it last weekend, and you felt maybe it was a tad slow.
It was more than a tad slow. I love the original. But I can be a critic of it. It is very slow. But the genre was back then.
I will definitely say that it is worth checking out. It is probably one of the strongest slasher movies in recent memory that I can think of.
Yeah. It's not without problems.
Yeah.
I can be objective.
The horror genre in general is by design tends to have some issues.
Yeah, don't wait for this one to come out on video. If you're even a little marginally fan of scary movies, it's worth a theater experience. Go pay your money.
I think I'll have to grab Weasel or something and make him go watch it.
You should, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
Now,
I did.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I did go a couple of days ago. We were talking about The Conjuring. We went a few days ago and saw The Nun.
Oh, The Nun, right?
Which is in the Conjuring universe.
I've heard mixed.
Yeah, it definitely is mixed. It's like I was saying last time. It was felt kind of cheap with all like the.
It's a lot of jump scares.
There were a few jump.
We
scares.
talked about that last week on the cast.
Yeah, there were a few jump scares.
Moderation.
Yeah, but it's one of those types of movies. But I mean, it was all right. It was enjoyable. You're not going to be able to find it in the theaters anymore. It's already gone.
That's right.
So if it comes out on Netflix and you're a fan of if you're a fan of the Conjuring series, you've probably already seen it. But it was all right.
I am, but I haven't. This one I kind of slept on this one. It didn't kind of appeal to me very much.
Yeah, I mean the best part of it for me personally was like the last 2 minutes when they tied it into the
painting
Saw universe.
Yeah, the Saw universe was a major crossover. It's
dun, dun, dun!
Yeah.
The nun goes to the Gideon meat plant.
Yeah. No, but they tied it into one of the first Conjuring movies. The scene where they were doing the lecture at the college, and they were kind of showing the projectors and explaining everything that was going on there.
Yeah.
How it all tied back to one of the characters from the Nun movie, and it was interesting. I like that part. I like when things tie.
I don't
in
want to go
together.
super off topic, but I have to ask this question: is this the event that like messed her up? This was the one that like messed her up. Like they kind of had her in the Conjuring movies, where they're like she needs to rest because some super traumatic thing had happened directly to her. Was this the one?
Yeah, this was the cause of the exorcism where she had the vision with the guy.
Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It was that guy. So,
I was
yeah.
wondering. I kind of suspected, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Now, Handor, you touched on this a little earlier. Is in that Stranger Things is definitely new. It was completely unexpected. What I'm curious about that is, it's been 2 years now, almost within a couple weeks, right? Because I think it was around Halloween the first time it came out. How come we haven't seen copycats?
Okay,
Yeah, that's a good question.
I know that people are gonna cringe. I kind of lumped the first Purge in with Stranger
Things?
with Stranger Things, not Stranger Things, but what is it called? It's not Stranger Things, obviously.
Full House.
No, but the first Purge kind of felt like The Strangers. Sorry, because it was pretty much very similar. It had the home invasion, the guys with the the Purge masks trying to get into the house to get the guy that they were trying to purge that night.
I hated the Purge. I hated all of it.
I was kind of indifferent about it, but it kind of felt a less creative aspect of that. I thought the Purge was okay, but
I haven't seen those. That's the one where the one night a year everything's
It's
legit.
a really, really heavy-handed social commentary movie.
yeah.
Okay.
Disguised as a horror movie.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of the movies, but I did watch the series on YouTube where they kind of explain the story behind all of them and all that stuff. So I was like, okay,
Yeah,
well,
I
don't
thought
need
the
to-
first-
I don't need to watch it.
The first and the second one were decent, and I have to admit, I'm only like 3 episodes in, but they did a TV series for it, and so far it's been, it's okay.
I'll check that out because I've honestly watched them all.
I would nowhere say, oh, it's amazing, you gotta watch it. Is it worth your time to watch? Yeah,
if you have time, if you have lots
sure.
of time.
Lots of times, it's worth checking out.
Yeah.
That's
I
about all I'll
actually
say about
was-
it.
I was a little more interested in the more recent one, where it kind of told the story of how it started,
But yeah,
and it's kind of like it takes that story without the obvious overtones and is right out in front of you. And it's like, yep, we're doing this for evil reasons, and here's what's going on. So that I think that might be a more interesting story. I'll see it on Netflix maybe if it happens to show up.
Well, they've got the one, I think, so they should be able to snag the others.
what else was you guys to tease though? I know someone had wrote in, and I definitely don't disagree. But somebody had mentioned aliens, right?
Yeah, aliens is something we have not really seen. I think in our movie episode, Handor brought up Close Encounters.
That's old.
And that was really old. But in general, like we have like X-Files here, but
like Fire in the Sky, we brought up at one point.
Yeah.
This movie I remember talking about.
yeah,
But recently, what have we had recently?
Signs.
oh, okay.
Is
Well,
that-
I wouldn't call that recent. I
That's
think
kind
that
of
was, like,
borderline recent.
Yeah, but I mean, aside from that, I don't think aliens necessarily need. To
okay,
come
that's
back.
me.
The Arrival was
Yeah. Yeah,
just
the
like a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one that definitely probably could use some love. Honestly,
2002. It was Signs.
that's
Yeah.
not recent.
Wow.
Not anymore.
Okay.
I mean, we're getting old.
What's I know, it's hard to tell when sometimes time flies like that.
I mean,
there was
there's
another
been alien movies semi recently like Arrival, but that's not horror at all, right? It's
Well,
one. No,
it's-
I'm just trying to think of aliens in general. There was one I just saw, and I believe it was on Netflix. It might have been so maybe someone else can help me out here. So what happens is a team of females go into
that was Pornhub.
oh, sorry. A team of women. You've got your biologist, you've got your engineer, so on and so forth, whatever. And this alien species has come down and is taking over an area, and that area is continually expanding. And she not donates herself. She gives herself to be used as a
conduit.
Tool. Well, to go into this thing to try to figure out what it is. And it had a very cool concept, which was that everything that this thing is when you're inside of it replicates exactly what you are. So every time they would add someone new to it, it would kind of expound upon that, and it caused. It's a really fucking weird movie, and by the end of the movie, you end up going, "Holy what the." And it's a pretty new movie too.
Well, I don't know. I actually didn't see it, so maybe it's literally the same movie. But
It wasn't Arrival, no.
No.
I saw that in the theater. It's been like the last year. I think
it's relatively, it's very new.
As far as aliens are concerned, I mean, yay or nay, is Predator reboot a horror movie? Like, would you guys constitute that as kind of horror-ish adjacent? Because they did a reboot of that, right?
it can be.
I mean, it's gory.
But it can also
It's got kills.
I realize that Predator is an alien by the canon, but he feels more like a monster than he does an alien. Like, I
could see that.
They don't play into a lot of the alien tropes with him.
Yeah, things I would like to see reboots of, and again, if you follow horror movies, I would certainly love to see a legit reboot of The Thing. I recognize that they did a prequel of it with abysmally terrible CG, and I hate it, although it does do some interesting things. But the prequel is about, I can't remember if they're Swedish or French, I'm sorry, but the people that were there on the site before, that they find remnants of in the John Carpenter thing. So it was a super interesting concept, not executed very well.
I liked, there was a few key moments that I remember that were pretty cool, how they staged scenes, essentially, in this prequel that were things that the original came across and were like, what the hell happened here?
I literally rewatched the thing after I watched the prequel, and they find the axe randomly in the wall and you don't know why, and then the prequel kind of, she's like, no, leave it. And I'm like, why? Oh, right, because they find the axe in the thing. So there's some cool nods in it. As a movie, didn't really care for it. But The Thing, I would love to see The Thing remade. I think that's an amazing. Speaking of John Carpenter, Halloween, The Thing would be awesome. Prometheus tried.
Well, I was literally about to bring up Prometheus and say they tried to reboot Aliens.
Yeah,
that franchise, and failed.
It didn't do well.
I was gonna say no, Prometheus. That's the thing. That's the risk with something like that. You take a very big potential, right? You have this thing with so much potential.
I wanted it to be good. I really did. I really did.
Yeah.
Well, I think the weird thing about Prometheus is if they had been upfront and strong with the relations to the Alien series instead of being subtle about it, I think it would have had a better chance. But
it had some solid notes. But
I think the thing about Prometheus is they really expanded on the Alien universe with like the architects and all that stuff. I don't think that for the story they were trying to deliver, I don't think a movie would have been the best venue. I think like a TV series, they would have had so
That's
much
interesting.
more time.
Yeah. Because I think the architects are interesting. I think the direction they were going is creative and interesting. It was all execution that failed, I think. But there were some notes of Prometheus I dug. And then the sequel, I didn't like at all. Like, at all.
I don't
the
even
newer
know what
one.
The name of it is.
Man, it was a miss on almost every front. I liked some of the characters. The Eastbound and Down guy that oddly enough produced the new Halloween. There was some character stuff in that was interesting. I think the guy that plays the android, which is kind of a theme of the Aliens, right, with Bishop and everything.
That's the same dude from X-Men, right?
Yeah, the guy that plays Magneto. There's some good acting in the movie. Like most of the acting is actually really solid. It just, it's a pass.
So real quick, going back to what Handor was talking about earlier, that movie, that Alien movie, was that Annihilation? Is that the one you're talking about?
Is that what that's called?
It's got Natalie Portman in it.
Yes, that is what it is.
I haven't seen that yet. That looked interesting.
Dude,
was it good?
It was pretty good. It was interesting. I liked it.
Cool.
was
It looked interesting. I just haven't. It kind of fell off to the wayside, honestly.
Yeah, I haven't even seen it on DVD. Really, I haven't even seen like an at-home video.
It should be soon.
that.
It's probably right around now is when that should probably be hitting,
Yeah,
if not
it
already.
Came
It might have
out,
been-
it came out in February, so. Yeah.
It might have been.
Oh
I
wow, that's a
watched it
long time ago. Okay.
It might have been. I watched it on Amazon. But yeah, all of us here love watching movies, so I just had to watch it, and like I said, it's very interesting. It's
Yeah, I'll check it
mind
out.
bending. Yeah, do it. I would suggest everyone just check it out. It's a super crazy twist on everything that you're
Yeah,
normally used to.
Aliens horror wise, it's kind of a thin list. I think we should see more. If I was kind of grasping, right, and it's probably a reach. Attack on the Block, not so much horror, I would say, but it's kind of adjacent as well. Riddick, again, more sci-fi, not so much horror, but you could make arguments.
Sci-fi horror in general is always welcome with me.
Yeah, but I mean, and we've had some good ones. I would say the Riddick series was decent.
Pitch Black was definitely horror tropes.
Yeah, and also fantastic. I think most people would say.
I think the problem why there hasn't been more alien stuff is because like the note that I put here in the show notes, aliens are real and people are only really comfortable with spoopy things and horror things that they know for a fact are just fake. So if there's a vampire, it's like that doesn't exist, I don't care about it. But if there's an alien, it's like, yeah, no, that's a thing.
Maybe,
I don't want to mess with that.
So for a final point here, one of the things that's tied to a lot of our tropes coming back is Hollywood sexifying them. You saw it with Twilight.
That's fair.
Witches, werewolves were all made sexy. Underworld, definite example of that. What could be made sexy, and then we'll see it come back.
Okay,
Yeah,
this is funny.
I don't think there's much left. Like, the creature from the Black Lagoon. No, I mean we already have the mermaid. I don't really see
Okay,
more than that.
wow, this is like tripping me out here. Was this new Mummy reboot? Was that an attempt to make it sexy?
I bet it was. Honestly,
Was that the intention? Shit, maybe that was.
Absolutely.
By the way, fucking awful. But maybe that was the intention, right? With the whole reboot of that monster series was to make it because the Russell Crowe sexy, right? He's a sex symbol, I think. Trying to be the Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah.
Depp was signed on for it. So yeah.
What the hell was he gonna be?
I don't remember. I remember like reading something about it when it came to light that no, the movie didn't suck. It's just that they were trying to build a universe. And
Dude, that Jekyll and Hyde thing was so forced.
Yeah.
Dude, it was just like jammed in there, like I'm gonna just push it in your face. It was so out of place.
So everyone was just trying to marvel in one movie or two movies, in opposed to doing it over 10 years.
It's not a terrible idea. I don't think the reboot is a terrible idea, but it was poorly done.
Old school monster movies, like, there's nothing inherently wrong about bringing some of them back. It's for a lot of them, it's been a long time. So,
Yeah, but I mean, like, to get back to your point, I don't know what's left that you could, make sexy. Big monsters like from Stranger Things, the Demogorgon? No. Cloverfield, giant monster? No.
really, you could see a Cloverfield with 50-foot woman. Thing.
There
I was
was an
gonna
attack
say-
of the 50-foot woman.
Yeah.
They could bring that back.
Kong in itself is essentially a love story, isn't it?
You could make the argument.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, between a man and a woman and a 100-tall monkey.
It's the original Beauty and the Beast kind of
Right. Yeah.
thing.
And I'm pretty sure Tom Cruise kind of fell in love a little bit with. I feel like maybe for a minute, So yeah,
There was very few parts of that movie where I'm like, oh, I might like this. Yeah. No.
The new Kong movie? Is
No,
that the one with Jack
the
Black?
new Mummy movie. Sorry.
Oh, I haven't even seen it. Like, nah.
I watched them
that's
all.
Yeah.
Something I saw the other day when I was at Target looking through the movies, though, I was super psyched about, and I hadn't heard anything about it. There is a new Puppet Master out. Um,
What?
yeah,
Okay.
there's a
No
new
way.
Puppet Master on Blu-ray. It's called The Littlest Reich. It came out in 2018. So I don't
The
know
Littlest
what.
Reich.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, well, the main puppet, right, is a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
Blade.
God, yeah. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
sense. All right, I'm on the trolley.
Yeah,
Let's go.
so I
Okay,
mean,
let's
I
go.
was gonna come up, I was gonna come back to this show and be like, I really wish they would redo Puppet Master because
Sure.
that was my favorite horror series from when I was a kid, and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
still
man.
making it, so I
Hell
didn't
yeah.
have to.
That's great.
But yeah,
Okay, you need to link that to me.
yeah, but dude, you have to watch Puppet Master and not the Puppet Masters. Because the Puppet Masters is an alien movie that was actually filmed here in Fresno at the city hall that looks like a spaceship and cost taxpayers millions of dollars, and it's horrible. So horrible that they put it in a movie. But yeah, don't watch that one. Watch Puppet Masters, and you'll know it's the right one if you see a bunch of awesome little puppets running around murdering people in cool ways.
It's hard for me to say. Making something sexy, it certainly makes it easier for Hollywood to push it or peddle it, depending on how your vernacular.
Yeah.
My thing is, I don't know what I don't know what I want to see. That's not really for me to figure out. I think that's for more creative people than me to figure out. What I want to see, I don't know yet. Go figure it out. Just stop remaking the same shit. Like, think of something creative and new. I'm totally ready for it. I'm prepared for it. I'll pay for it. But stop doing the same thing. I mean, I think most people are, as far as exhaustion goes, I don't think it's just the horror genre. I don't think it's just spooky thing. I think people are exhausted about a lot of things.
Well, to be fair though, we have a group of people around the globe that are just still continually eating up this Walking Dead stuff. And
sure, and to be fair, Handor, I'm a hypocrite. I'm talking about doing new things, and I will totally, on the other hand, say I'm super excited about rebooting Halloween. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I get it.
Well, look, there's a difference between being invested in something to the point that this was your favorite thing at one point in time, and you understand the world that this whole series has existed in, and you want to see something done right, or you want to see it done in a more what's the word I'm looking for? A way that can be, that you can take it in and accept that, because there was a couple Halloween, movies that the stories don't line up. Or we could talk about like Hellraiser, which is just like that entire season, or the entire series is a shit show as far as like what's going on.
There.
I love Hellraiser.
Post
I
Blood.
wish they would reboot Hellraiser. That would be great.
So in the grand scheme of things, I understand that the hypocrisy and why that exists. And I think we would all have some of that with some of our favorite things. Like, we want to see something done in totality, or with some sort of grandeur, that you would feel happy about. And when something lets you down, you kind of think about that forever, right? It never really goes away.
All right. Well, on that, does anyone have any closing thoughts to tropes and exhaustion, as it were?
I mean, I just don't think there's anything left as far as like, classic horror monster that they can come up with something new. I think everything's been done. I think it's going to come in waves. So as soon as the zombie phase dies down, they're going to bring out something else that's already been done, and it's just going to recycle.
I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah.
I think that I honestly believe that there is a fourth dimension. We don't know about it yet.
And that's where all the ideas are coming from.
And that's where
horror.
they'll come from. I mean,
Fair enough.
Yeah, let's bring back murdering toys. You know,
Well, they
Child's
are.
Play.
Child's
Yeah.
Play is already rebooted. Audrey Plaza's in it. It's legit. It's
Really?
happening.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Child's Play's already being filmed.
I
didn't
will
know
have
that.
to make a point.
Yeah,
Um,
and by the way, it's not a. My understanding. Go Google it yourself. My understanding is they're not going the possessed route. They're going that Chucky is a robot doll that goes crazy.
Okay,
That's
Well,
their
there's
twist.
your sci-fi horror.
that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
a possessed serial killer in them.
I don't think you really need to, like, that's not a huge jump for
Sure.
fans of the movies to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, why not? My closing thought is we need more movies about people stuck in giant cubes and having to escape them.
What?
Really?
Are you just pitching like a Portal movie?
No, Cube.
Did you
Cube,
like
literally
Cube?
Cube and Hypercube, and I believe
Yeah.
there was a third one that was absolutely ass terrible. But
Wow. I didn't
it's
think you
so-
would like. Do you like this?
Oh, I love Cube. It was a
Wow, okay.
super fun movie. It's on Netflix,
that
and so
catches
I
me
would
off
check
guard.
it out. If you
Yeah.
if you like cubes and people getting out of them and math,
Well,
it is
I'm
definitely-
gonna. Okay, bringing IRL into this a little bit. I think you guys hadn't got back in the theater from grabbing booze and snacks for Halloween, but they had an actual trailer for a sort of Cube-esque escape room horror movie.
That- see,
That's
what
coming out.
That's kind
And
of
it-
what I was thinking.
It
Like,
looked super fun.
we haven't seen a trap house
Yeah.
recently, so
Yeah.
I could definitely be down for that.
What's-
Isn't
is-
that
what is-
Saw?
No. Yeah.
But I
No,
like
no, no.
trap houses.
This is like an actual like escape room. It's like
Okay.
playing on the new escape room hotness.
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
new.
I was gonna say this is coming off of the heels of virtual reality, gaming,
Mhm.
so on and so forth.
I mean, they're gonna save a ton of money on just the set alone. It's just
No,
one
the
room.
sets don't look cheap. It's
Yeah, but it's just
it
one
looks
room.
like a big bucks Hollywood thing.
Yeah.
Larry and I looked at my partner. I looked at each other and we're like, yeah, that looks kind of cool. Looks kind of interesting.
All right.
Yeah,
Speaking
check
of
it out.
which, the new Fantastic Beasts is coming out
November
16th, 2 weeks,
16th?
3 weeks. Yeah, I definitely want to go see that.
Yeah, I'm hoping my buddies are gonna. They're coming from Denver to back here for
It's like
Thanksgiving.
right next door, so it's basically the same
Yeah.
place.
Well, they're coming back to visit us for Thanksgiving, but I don't think they're going to be here in time for that. And they are the biggest Harry Potter fanatic fans. They love Harry Potter.
I gotta say,
so they'd be the
like-
funnest people to go see that with. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping they're
Like
here.
Newt Scamander is without a doubt my favorite character in the entire Harry Potter universe.
Yeah,
like
I can
he
see
is-
that. He's a
he is
cool
my
character.
nice,
favorite.
He's
nice
fun.
one. If you don't close this in, man, you're gonna. This
Yeah.
is gonna just.
I think
We're
before
gonna go
we start
forever.
rambling for all
night.
time about what we want to watch, I think we're gonna call it a night and let all you nice people get back to your lives. So with that saying, I will let Endo give you all the cool places that you can find us.
Yeah.
Right here, Pixel Scandal. Yeah, it's right there, and in all of those places, right there on camera.
Your
Our
camera
cool
shit.
little business cards. Yeah.
Well, for those of you who are listening to the podcast who can't see the cameras,
Yeah.
you can find us on pixelscandal.com. Go check it out. We're doing, or by we, really Kurt, who's kind of our GM, our DM, and our website guy and design guy, who also made those cards. If you're watching the YouTube video or the live stream, created for us. But you can check us out on pixelscandal.com. Check it out. He's doing a lot of work on that site. And you can send us an email on pixelscandal@gmail.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram @pixelscandal. And you can check us out on Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite podcatcher, right? Podcatcher, is that right? Okay.
Pod turkey.
Pod Turkey.
Pod Turkey.
Quad Turkey.
Excellent. Thank you. So yeah, check that out.
All right. Well then, I will ask the question that hasn't been asked in a while, but hey, maybe he's had an opportunity. Handor, have you had a chance to get to our outro yet, or did you spend all that time getting dapper?
Yeah. No.
Oh,
All right. Well then, farewell everyone, and have a good evening.
Bye.
Tomorrow, 4 p.m. Everybody, we'll be playing Damned. So come check that out.
I'm doing this until we're out.
I'm gonna go register picklescandal.com before somebody else gets it.
Picklescandal.com. Excellent. Do that.
Love you.
Good night, everybody.
So long.
Good night.